So it's the most wonderful time of year again, which means that my Saturdays will be full.
Oh yeah, don't ask me to do nothing on Saturday. It's over with.
Hell, my Thursday and my Friday night was pretty full. Most recently.
Yeah.
Welcome to Watch the Game podcast. We're here to catch up on so much, but Penn State and Purdue. Let me just say this: the Big Ten is coming out with a bang early in the college football season.
And go back. You can go back to the announcement of USC and UCLA is coming to the Big Ten. They started it with that.
Yeah, I'm not too big with that, but I guess I just got to get used to it.
Hey, it ain't gonna be traditional no more. It just ain't.
Yeah, it's throwing tradition out the way, out the window. But like I say, the Big Ten kicked the college football season off in a big way. Number one, they took Northwestern Wildcats and Nebraska Cornhuskers, and they went to Dublin, Ireland, and put on a hell of a game. And Nebraska, let one get away again. Scott Frost having a big problem with those close games, the big time close games. And then Purdue and Penn State played. That was probably the next big game in the Big Ten. I mean, to come out and play a conference foe right away, that takes some balls. Because if you lose that game,
you in the hole.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So Penn State and Purdue went out and blew the game against Penn State, I believe. In my opinion, they blew that game. They got a little pass happy. And then Illinois and Indiana put on a hell of a show down in Bloomington. And Indiana pulled out a big game against Illinois. And then your boys got up on one early Saturday morning and opened their season up with Colorado State.
Yeah, had a little scrimmage, And let me just say, it feels so damn good to say defending Big Ten champions for the first time. I've been giving if y'all don't know, I went to high school in Ohio, so I got a lot of Ohio State friends, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to say that to them every time I see them on Facebook. Big Ten champs.
Well, we talked about it a little bit. Your opinion, first of all, of the Michigan roster. Just what you know about the Michigan football team. What do you realistically expect from this team this year?
It's all about, because Josh Gaddis is no longer with the program. He's in Miami now, okay? So it's all about how their philosophy is going to be offensively. I think this is one of the most talented group of receivers they've had on the outside. We probably can go back to David Terrell, Braylon Edwards days. But if you're not going to use them, that could be a downfall. They got two backs in Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards that look like they can be game changers. Touch the ball and they can take it the distance, okay? So we got that. The defense, I don't think the defense is going to take that big of a step back from last year. Everybody is concerned about, they lost Aiden Hutchinson, who was a second pick in the draft, and David Ojabo, who was going to be a first-round pick. He blew his Achilles out on pro day. But that's still, they had 23 and a half sacks between them two last year. So a lot of people think they ain't going to get the pressure on the quarterback, yada, yada. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they still going to be solid up front on the defensive line. I like what I see from the secondary. My question would be the linebackers, but what I saw from Colorado State, I think will be okay. It all comes down to the most important position on the field when we come to football. Who's going to be the guy? Cade McNamara or J.J. McCarthy? And that answers the question right there.
And against Colorado State, they won that game, 51-7?
51-7.
we had an opportunity to see 4 guys play quarterback in that game against Colorado State.
Yeah.
How do you feel? And when you beat the team 51-7, first game of the season, I believe that you should get your second or third string quarterback on the field. And if you can, maybe even your fourth.
That's why you play a non-conference. That's why you play a Jimmy State corn muffins. That's why you do that. That's why you.
That's why you play at Colorado State. You're saying that, as like a lot of the other Big Ten schools, as we mentioned, they took on some of their own, some conference foes. Michigan took on a more of a less competitive team. I guess they could kind of restructure and get some talent evaluated off their roster. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's already been said that McCarthy will be starting in week 2 against Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel as a Michigan fan about them, doing this quarterback thing again for the second season in a row?
In my heart of hearts, I believe Harbaugh wants to go with JJ. I think he wants JJ to be the guy. I think he feels like there's more upside there. He can get us to where we need to be. We saw JJ versus Georgia in the college football playoff last year. He scored the touchdown. He moved the team down the field. Now, the game was out of hand by that point, but he still put the points on the board. K didn't do that. Okay, that's fine. But the problem you run into, K McNamara did something as a starting quarterback that hasn't been done in the last decade at Michigan. He beat Ohio State. He won the Big Ten championship. So there's loyalty there. You can't just...
As far as you are concerned.
No, as far as Jim Harbaugh is concerned. I want the best guy to play.
You want McCarthy?
I think McCarthy is the better quarterback of the two.
Okay. So you're not loyal to...
No. I want...
McNamara.
I've seen Nick Saban take Jalen Hurts, who had just went to the championship the year before,
okay,
and pull him and go with Tua.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I want the best guy to play because at the end of the day, this thing for me is I want to dominate Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Like they just dominated us.
Yeah.
So I think if we go to Columbus and get that victory this year, that turns the tide of the whole rivalry. It's different now. Mm-hmm. Recruits start looking at this thing different. Like, I don't know if I want to go to Ohio State now. Let me go. You know what I'm saying? So
at least you'll be able to maybe keep some of your kids in your home state.
Exactly.
And as well as recruit throughout Big Ten country and throughout the country as well. Because I think Jim Harbaugh, just the name itself, should up the recruitment, Andy. And then being able to...
instant pipeline to the league. His brother is a Super Bowl winning coach. You know what I mean? So that's the side of the fence I'm on. Like, yes, K, thank you for what you did last year. But it's the same thing what we talked about in a previous segment with Trey Lance and Jimmy G.
Okay, well, I get where you're going with that. Because I most definitely see what McCarthy... It's a little bit more athletic,
stronger arm
as a lot, because a lot of people think he's got a strong arm, but I most definitely can see that he's a little bit more athletic. He can get out and extend plays a little bit. So I feel you on that, but I was just wondering how you felt about Michigan going in with this 2-quarterback thing again, because this is my thought process. It worked last year. I just think they got to make a decision. Else, one of these guys is going to cost them the season.
It almost happened last year.
And it's going to be because they don't have enough reps. And I just think that's what can happen this season because you didn't want to commit to one guy because it worked last year.
Exactly.
And I just think this year it can come back to haunt you. You still go to Ohio State, you know what I'm saying? And you just don't know who else, if anyone else is going to step up in the conference. I mean, Michigan State, I'm not too familiar with their roster or what the expectations are for Michigan State. But you can never really count them out.
They beat us the last 2 years.
So that's what I'm saying. You can never really count them out. just wondering how you felt about that with the Wolverines going into another season with the two-headed quarterback.
You just got to make a decision. But like I said, my preference is JJ. But Harbaugh, if you think it's Cade, let's just go with Cade. Let's just go. Okay. If we got to pick a guy, and we can't
just pick one
because we lost the Michigan State game because remember JJ came in and fumbled the ball.
Yeah,
ain't had the reps. Yeah. He came in cold.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make a decision.
And I just don't want to see a program that picked up so much steam last year, because slowly but surely, I'll tell you why later on, but slowly but surely, I think I'm getting a little, I think I'm turning a little blue and maize on the inside. I don't know exactly what's happening. But from there, I made sure that I woke up and watched Michigan first. I mean, they were on the first game of the morning. And then I tuned into Georgia and Oregon. And I think Oregon was ranked number 11 in the country, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and Georgia's 3.
Georgia was ranked number 2 based on what I seen. I mean, yeah, Ohio State's 2, right?
Let's see. Bama is 1, Ohio State is 2, Georgia is 3. Yeah.
Okay, Georgia was 3 going into this game. And I thought, okay, it's going to be a good one. Oregon usually has a really fast team. Damn.
They got Bo Nix, the transfer from Ole Miss.
Man. Let me tell you. I turned away from that game at halftime. Georgia had one of the best defenses in the country last year, and I think they're showing us the same thing this year. You can't count them out in the SEC. I think we're going to wait until we see a little bit more of those games later on down the line. But to make a long story short, I jumped off to that game by halftime.
Yeah.
And from there, I jumped to Nebraska playing against North Dakota. Because for some reason, North Dakota was hanging in there in the first half. So I was like, let me flip. Oh, come on, I'm gonna watch this game now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, damn, if Scott Frost lose this one, I gotta watch this. Because if Scott Frost lose this one,
yeah,
he might not. Man.
And
I don't want to imagine the fire that's gonna be on top of him at that point.
And when they played the game in Ireland versus Northwest, they looked good. I thought, like, okay, Nebraska might really be on to something this year.
22 transfers.
Exactly.
If I'm not mistaken.
They might be on to something this year. They might actually be a contending program in the Big Ten West. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But then they got the same problems. They just can't win the close game.
I tuned into that game at halftime, and Nebraska pulled it out. I think they won by like 2 touchdowns, maybe 3.
It was on Big Ten Network?
It was on Big Ten Network, but I had to finish my 2 o'clock slot was I ended right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that segued me into Notre Dame and the big game of the week, Notre Dame and Ohio State. And I just really want to see a highly contested game. But how the blue amazing me, something about the blue amazing me wanted me to see Notre Dame win this game. And I thought about you guys, Cutter, number 12, and yourself, and Uncle Hen. I was thinking, how would they feel about me rooting for Notre Dame?
That's the side we was on. We was cheering for Notre Dame.
So I know you were cheering for Notre Dame, but I said, well, maybe it ain't gonna be too bad because Notre Dame isn't. I don't think it's on the Michigan schedule this season.
Nah, they ain't.
So I feel kind of safe rooting for Notre Dame, but it was a highly contested game. I wanted to see Notre Dame show that they were the number 5 team in the country. I think they will fall a couple slots, but I don't think they'll take them out the top 10 because they played well enough to win, but due to the fact that they lost to the number 2 team in the country, maybe they won't fall too far down. And you got to think about the follower of Notre Dame. All of America would love to see them always competitive in the national championship hunt, but they most definitely play a highly competitive game. I like my games like that. A lot of defense, a few big plays on offense. You know, when those games get to 30 and 40 points, I really lose interest. But I was very much so entertained with the Notre Dame Ohio State game that night. I'm gonna let you elaborate on that game because I got another game I want to talk about, and I got some interesting games I want to talk about in college football. But I'm gonna let you touch base on that before I go there.
See, let me just before I just as Skip Bayless said before I launch. Did Ohio State look like the number 2 team in the country yesterday?
Well, I gotta consider the fact that they were playing against what a lot of people consider the number 5 team in the country. But when it comes down to what you're talking about, and I know you're getting into this, is how you're gonna match them up with Michigan later on in the season.
That's what everything's about.
Considering that Michigan's number 8 in the country, going into Saturday's game against Colorado State, how far is the gap between Notre Dame and Michigan? That's something we won't find out until the season plays out. So I get it, and I've heard some concerns that a lot of Michigan fans felt good about the fact that they didn't see the snap, crackle, pop, if I could say, that you normally get out of Ohio State team, but they did pull it off. They made a couple big plays towards the end, but you feeling pretty confident about how they match up against the Wolverines.
I made the statement after Justin Fields left Ohio State to go to the draft. I said there's no possible way that Ohio State can be this good as they are right now going forward. Because what is the chances of C.J. Stroud coming in and being as good as Justin Fields?
Well, that's one thing, but the weapons around him are not in the period to pop off the screen either in that game.
But the first
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Correct.
I got to say his name. Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. He made some plays against Notre Dame, but unless I probably missed a few things because I did make a couple plays of nachos from time to time, and I did catch a nap from time to time. But that was the one guy from Ohio State, and I think Henderson is their number 1 tailback. And I forget the one guy's name, number 2 or number 3.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
I can't remember his name. And you got to bear with us here on Watch the Game. We working our way back in. So there's a lot of number 2s and number 3s that we're going to talk about. We may not necessarily know their names, but to make a long story short, I didn't see the Ezekiel Elliott type guys.
Exactly.
The Justin Fields or the Olave.
Exactly.
Or them type of guys. So I get what you're saying. The matchup seemed a little bit more favorable to Michigan and maybe the other teams in the Big Ten.
So we got that aspect of it. Like, they're still good. They're probably still the most talented team in the conference. But they're not that elite talent anymore. So that closes the gap. And then I think the fact that Michigan beat Ohio State last year, and the way that they did it on, we just gonna punch you in the mouth on the line of scrimmage, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I think that was a boost of confidence for us, and it put doubt in their mind. Like, maybe we just can't, maybe we not. Because again, a lot of those guys that we just talked about, Ezekiel Elliott and all them, they're not there anymore. They ain't had the success. C.J. Stroud was a freshman last year. He ain't been in them type of foxholes. So it'll be real interesting to see, because now give Ryan Day credit. How they beat Notre Dame is he had to throw his game plan out the window. He wanted to snap, crackle, pop, throw it all over the field. They played traditional Big Ten football. We're going to run it down your throat, stop us. And that's how he had to win the game. So I give him a nod for, his coaching on that. But from what I see overall, I'm feeling real good about going to Columbus that Saturday after Thanksgiving.
One other element, as I watch more of C.J. Stroud, a lot of people got him as one of the top Heisman candidates coming into this season. As I feel, he's not the athlete, and I think that might be your matchup thing right there, because he doesn't appear to be the athlete at quarterback that Justin Fields was or J.T. Barrett. And then, we're going to stay with the Big Ten. Some interesting things happen in the Big Ten. One of the things that happened, we talked about, Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue, Penn State, Nebraska, Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa. I think they played.
Who's in the Big
Who
Ten?
did they play? They played. It was 7-3.
Yeah, I saw the score. Hold on, I get it for you.
They won the game 7-3. You would think that they
San
scored
Diego
a
State.
touchdown. It wasn't San Diego State, was it?
SD State, wasn't it?
No, I wasn't saying that. These guys wearing blue and gold. Let's see. South Dakota.
South Dakota State.
They
right.
played South Dakota State. Okay. And they beat them 7-3. And you think, okay, 7-3. Then I heard, one of the national outlets was saying they won. They didn't even score a touchdown. They won the game. I'm like, damn. 2 safeties and a field goal, huh? 4 quarters of football.
Wait. Back up, because I saw the score of this game 7-3, but I didn't see any highlights. You telling me there was no touchdown score? It was 2 safeties and a field goal to give
I'm
them
gonna go to the
7
box score here. Okay. No rushing touchdowns for the quarterback. No, he didn't throw for any touchdowns. No rushing touchdowns for the running backs. No receiving. There you go. 0 across the board. So, special teams and defense is how they done it. Iowa showing us how to do it. The damn offense didn't even have to show up for this game.
I know, like what?
Okay, so two safeties and a field goal. That's how they done it in the home opener against South Dakota State. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you something else too that's really interesting as we get to close this thing out. North Carolina State and North Carolina, the Wolfpack and the Tar Heels. They had 2 different foes. If I can go to it, let me see here. But one of these games, a basketball, the
Tar Heels and the Appalachian State, 63-61. They gave up 40 points in the fourth quarter.
They started out with a football game and a basketball game blew out in the final score. I think it was something like 63-62 or
63-61.
Okay, so basketball blew out. Game turned out for that game, and then North Carolina State, they squeaked the win out against
East Carolina.
And they had a scare against East Carolina State. So just some real interesting things happen in college football, and we're not even done yet. I think Florida State got to play LSU at the time in which we talking about this.
Coach Prime played today.
Prime going down to FAMU.
Yeah.
And shout out to those people in there, Jackson, Mississippi, as they go through, the floods down there. I have a cousin, Bobby Sanders Jr., B.O.B. Jr. He's a sophomore at Jackson State. So we want to send our praises out to them and wish them the best as they go through that down there. But yeah, Jackson State going against FAMU. And then I think you got another big game tonight against Labor Day.
Our buddy, our good friend. No, we forgot. Did we say this in a game already? The coach that went to the South and changed his accent.
Oh,
Ryan Kelly.
He went down there and brought his family.
Yeah,
Ryan Kelly and LSU. They playing that game at LSU? I believe so.
It's either a neutral site game or LSU.
Okay. Oh yeah, it might be I think it's the second kickoff.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure where that game is going to be played, but for the NCAA, for the Big Ten, to get us going and get us ready for football, and then we get right ready to the NFL, and then if you listen real close, you'll hear a basketball bounce. Okay. So we're going to try and do a much better job of watching those games, keeping you guys addressed. And we would love your input on these things as we grow. Because right now, like I said previously, we playing from behind. But I mean, I think we can come back and finish strong. So be looking out for us.
Watch the Game Podcast. Hey, shout out to our supporters. Please like, subscribe, and share the content so we can find more sports fans like you. And let us know your favorite team, who you like, what your prediction is. Let us know so we can give you a special shout out. Again, shout out Cutter Pac-Man, Sean Dale, Big Rob Sims. Shout out, we saw him with LeBron James.
Yeah, speaking of that,
yeah,
it was a lot of stars out at that Ohio State Notre Dame game. Bron, the boy Big Rob.
Yeah.
The bus was. I seen the bus taking pictures with Ezekiel Elliott, our boy Justin Fields, our quarterback.
Yeah, we seen him. Yep.
He went down there. He greeted C.J. Stroud after the game. But big things gonna be happening for us, and as we continue to get better here, watching the game podcast, we want to find a way to help you, to bring you in, and that you join us. So as we continue to grow, you continue to watch, and we'll grow together.